Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the EHS talk show. We have a lot in store for you guys, so let's just hop right in to the very first segment, Cryptids, Conspiracies, and Cults.
Hello, creatures of the night, and welcome to the very first episode of Cryptids, Conspiracies, and Cults, a show where we dive into the world of oddities. In this episode, we are not covering a cryptid, a conspiracy, nor a cult. Instead, we are going to start off with this series with one of the most notorious true crime cases of all time, the case of O.J. Simpson. On October 3rd, 1995, at 10:07 a.m., O.J. Simpson was found not guilty for the murder of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman. This ruling was very controversial at the time, with all of the evidence that was lined up. Let's get into what happened the night of the murders to find out for ourselves. On June 12, 1994, at 6:30 p.m., Nicole arrives at the restaurant Mezzaluna with her children and friends. At 9:15 p.m., Nicole's sister contacts the restaurant to say that her mother had left her glasses there. Ronald Goldman goes to pick up the glasses. At 9 to 9:30 p.m., O.J. and his friend, Brian Kalin, who was staying in O.J.'s guest house, went out for McDonald's. At 9:45, they return home from McDonald's. At 9:50 p.m., Ronald Goldman leaves Mezzaluna with the mother's glasses in an envelope. At 10:15 p.m., Nicole's neighbors hear a dog barking and crying. At 10:25, a limo driver named Alan Park arrives at O.J.'s home because O.J. was scheduled to take a flight from L.A. to Chicago at 11:45 p.m. At this time, he tries to contact O.J., but with no response. At around 10:40 p.m., Brian, the man staying at O.J.'s house, heard loud thumps on the outside wall. Just before 11 p.m., the limo driver sees a shadowy figure that was about 6 feet tall, about O.J.'s height, walking in the driveway towards the house. Around this time, he buzzes O.J.'s intercom once again, but this time, O.J. answers. He says that he had overslept and he would be right out. At 11:45 p.m., O.J. departs on his flight to Chicago. At 12:10 a.m., the bodies of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman are found outside of her house, stabbed to death. The only evidence found at the crime scene was a blood-stained glove, a knitted hat, and a bloody footprint. Just based on this timeline, it's not looking good for the famous football star. This is where it heats up though, folks. On June 17, 1994, just 4 days later, O.J. was charged with 2 counts of murder. But did O.J. surrender to the authorities? No, he did not, ladies and gentlemen. He ran from the police in his infamous white Ford Bronco being driven by his friend Al Cowlings. Over 95 million people watched it live, with over 9 news helicopters joining the low-speed pursuit. Al Cowlings explained that he did not stop the car due to O.J. pointing a gun to his own head. He says that O.J. was suicidal. We will get into that in a minute. There's audio that was released between O.J. and homicide detective Tom Lang during the chase. Here is some of that audio.
Tom, will you briefly tell us what this is?
Well, Larry, we saw the chase on television like everyone else, and I was standing at my desk, and the thought struck me, you know, we had his cell phone number. Why not do the simplest thing in the world and give him a phone call? And so I dialed it, and I didn't get through right away, and I dialed a second and then a third time, and to my amazement, he picked up. And we had a brief conversation, and then I lost him.
Everybody loves you. Don't do this. I know you're thinking.
Oh.
Man, just throw it out the window. And nobody's going to get hurt.
I'm the only one that deserves.
No, you don't deserve that.
Get hurt.
You do not deserve to get hurt. You do not deserve to get hurt. Don't do this.
All I did was love Nicole. That's all I did.
The chase would end at O.J.'s home, where they searched his car. What they found inside was quite humorous. Makeup adhesive, a fake mustache and goatee, OJ's passport, and a gun. He officially surrendered after the chase. With that, let me read you an excerpt of his suicide note. To whom it may concern. First, everyone understand, I have nothing to do with Nicole's murder. I have loved her. I always have and always will. If we had a problem, it's because I loved her so much. I took the heat New Year's 1989 because that's what I was supposed to do. I did not plead no contest for any other reason but to protect our privacy and was advised it would end the press hype. Don't feel sorry for me. I've had a great life, great friends. Please think of the real OJ and not this lost person. This will be big when we talk about the evidence. Now there are two types of people in this world. People who think OJ is guilty and people who think he is not guilty. I will present the two perspectives to keep it fair. First up, the guilty side of things. If the murders were done at 10:15, the time of the dog outcry, that would give OJ enough time to commit the murders, clean himself up, and be back at his house by 11 p.m. This house was only around 5 to 10 minutes away from Nicole's house. If we look into DNA analysis, OJ's blood as well as Nicole's and Ron's were found on the glove found at the murder scene. In further evidence, that glove matched a glove found behind the guest house of OJ's estate, roughly around the place that Brian said he heard the thumping sounds. That glove also had blood that matched OJ, Nicole, and Ron. The knitted hat found at the murder scene had hairs that were proven to be OJ's by the FBI Hair and Fiber Laboratory. Blood was also found in his driveway, and the bloody footprint at the murder scene was the same size as OJ's foot. OJ had also purchased a knife that was predicted to be the murder weapon, although the murder weapon was never found. Another key detail was the fact that OJ had a history of abusing Nicole when they were married. This is where the suicide note comes in. He mentions New Year's in 1989. On this day, OJ and Nicole got in an altercation during a New Year's Eve party at their house. Police records detail that OJ punched and kicked Nicole as well as pulled her hair. According to the documents, OJ was reported to scream, "I'll kill you," at Nicole. When police arrived, Nicole ran out of some bushes, bruised and scratched. She reportedly said, "He's going to kill me," as she ran to the officers. Now to get to the not guilty side of things. Evidence was reported to not be packaged correctly, and also it was left in a heated van. During the trial, the defense team had OJ put on the gloves found at the murder scene. The gloves were too small on his hands. This leads to a very famous line by his lawyer: "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." A real poet, huh?
O.J. Simpson in a knit cap from 2 blocks away is still O.J. Simpson. It's no disguise. It's no disguise. It makes no sense. It doesn't fit. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
You know what we need right now? Some bad jokes. With Kill Day.
Good evening. A gentleman walked into a bar, and it hurt. 2 gentlemen walked into a bar. You think the second one would have ducked. These 2 peanuts were walking down the street. One was assaulted. Did you hear about the man who quit the donut factory? He was tired of the whole thing. Did you hear about the gentleman who lost the entire left side of his body? He's all right now. What do you call a gentleman with no arms and no legs who's in your swimming pool? Bob. What do you call a gentleman with no arms and no legs who's hanging on your wall? Art. What do you call a gentleman with no arms and no legs who's on your front porch? Matt. What do you call a gentleman with no arms and no legs who's on your grill? Frank. What do you call a lady with no arms and no legs who's on your grill? Patty. What do you call a gentleman with no arms and no legs who's in your hot tub? Stew. What do you call a gentleman with no arms and no legs who's struck by lightning? Rod. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Wow, Kilday. Thank you for your contribution. Now it's off to our next segment, Alex Chat, with your host truly, Alex G.
Hey everyone, what's up? I'm Alex, and today we're doing the very first episode of Alex Chat with yours truly. So today we're going to be talking about one of the most funnest games of all time. It's called Press Your Luck. Now, the computer game version of Press Your Luck is basically like the same Press Your Luck you usually watch on TV. Only this time it has different squares. Squares you don't usually see in Press Your Luck. You know, like 1250 and a spin, 1750 and a spin. Those squares don't even go on the board. But they do have 1250 and 1750, but without the spins on the show. Now this game is kind of like a math game. You can go up, 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 or down from the dreaded whammy. Now, whammy is a really bad guy, so you better watch out for him, because if you land on the whammy, he'll take all your money. Now, in this computer version, you have to answer 4 questions and answer them correctly. If you get all 4 wrong, you will get 4 spins. If you get 3 wrong and 1 right, you will get 6 spins. If you get 2 wrong, 2 right, you will get 8 spins. If you get 1 wrong, 3 right, you will get 10 spins. And believe me, if you get all 4 questions correct in a row, you got a maximum number of 12 spins, baby. Now, you have to use your spins to play as many times as you want on the big board, but without hitting the whammy. And if you have 4 whammies on that board, you're swept right out of the game. Now, in this version, there's a square that says double your money. Now, if you land on that square, it will double your money. For example, if you have $10,000, and if you land on the square, you'll have $20,000. One time when I played this game, I won over $20,000. To be exact, $20,850. Because, you know, I am one of the professional players. This game has different questions about stuff where you have to figure out. Like, for example, if you pour pepper on your nose, then you get 3 options. For example, you sneeze, you cry, you get a rash. You have to choose which answer is correct. The object of the game is to win as much money as you possibly can without hitting the whammy. I played the game sometimes, and I actually hit 4 whammies in a row. That actually happened in some episodes in the show Press Your Luck, which is pretty hilarious. It has the top square amounts, just like the round 2 version of Press Your Luck, like 3,000 a spin, 4,000 a spin, even 5,000 a spin. Many spins. But this game also has prizes, but here's the thing. The prizes don't show their names. They just say prize, and it shows you the amount of the prizes. Now, in the show Press Your Luck, they have prizes that actually shows their name, but the computer game version, it doesn't show the name of the prizes. It just says prizes in different colored squares. So play this game at home and let's hope you get big bucks, but no whammies, or else you'll lose the game. Let's hope you win. So yeah, this concludes the very first episode of Alex Chat with your host, Alex G. And that's me. So yeah, try to play this game and hope you win. This is Alex G signing off.
Thank you for enlightening us about this game, Alex. I played it earlier on today and I gotta say, it was quite fun. Thank you all for tuning in to the very first episode of the EHS Talk Show.